NHL regular season recap, night 93, 10 games tonight, and again, all very spread out because of the NFL playoffs. The first one between the Sabres and San Jose Sharks, and the Sabres get another win tonight, as they should, against the San Jose team. No goals in the first period. In the second, Casey Middlestat and Alex Tuck. Jordan Greenway pots the empty netter in the third. It's a 28-save shutout for Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who deserves one. It's been about time. He's been playing pretty well lately. Middlestat with a goal and 2 assists in this one as well. A strong performance for him. For Kaapo Kähkönen, 32 of 34. He played pretty well, but again, can't win if your team doesn't score, and that was the case tonight for San Jose. The Devils taking on the Boston Bruins, and the Bruins blank the Devils as well by a score of 3-0. It's Charlie Coyle and David Pastrnak, and then Trent Frederick with the empty netter. Nico Daws continues to be pretty good for the Devils. He goes 33 for 35, but of course Jeremy Swayman, 31 for 31. A very strong performance from both goalies, but once again, can't win if you don't score. David Pastrnak with both the goal and an assist in this one. Marchand with 2 assists. It's a strong game from both teams, but the Bruins just a bit better, obviously, in getting the puck to the back of the net. A 3-0 win for them. The Ducks visiting the Florida Panthers, and this one ends up being a bit of a tough one for the Panthers, who are, of course, chasing the Bruins for the top spot in the Atlantic Division. They have leads at multiple points in this game, 2-0 at one point in the first, as much as 4-2 in the second, and they end up blowing it and losing 5-4 in overtime to Anaheim. Bennett and Reinhart both scoring in the first, and then Killorn and Henrique score for the Ducks to tie it. Verhaeghe and Bennett again in the second before Silverberg makes it 4-3. Troy Terry ties it just under 4 minutes into the third, and then Alex Killorn with his second of the game is the overtime hero less than a minute in. John Gibson goes 29 for 33, while Anthony Stolarz goes 21 for 26. One of his worst games of the year, but you're going to have those once in a while. It's a big one for the Ducks. Again, they're not really playing for too much at this point, but a bigger loss for the Panthers, who are looking to chase down the high-flying Boston Bruins. The Canucks visiting the Columbus Blue Jackets, and another team losing in a bit of surprising fashion. The Blue Jackets win this one by a score of 4-3 in the shootout. JT Miller, Yegor Chinnikov, and Karna Garland score in the first. In the second, it's Voronkov and Pettersson. In the third, Voronkov with his second of the game. Nothing, of course, in the overtime. And the only person to score in the shootout is Kirill Marchenko with a pretty slick little one-handed 5-hole tuck. Nothing but kudos to him on that one. Elvis Merzlikins, 27 of 30, and officially requests a trade right after this game. Rockstar shit, as they say. Casey DeSmith, 41 for 44. Vancouver kind of got manhandled in this game, to be honest, but I think the end of the road trip for them, kind of a hard game to win. Nonetheless, a big 4-3 win for the Blue Jackets, who, much like the Ducks, are not really playing for too much at this point, but you enjoy the wins against the good teams especially. The Penguins hosting the Seattle Kraken, and the Penguins end the Kraken the ridiculous winning streak in this one. Drew O'Connor and then Sidney Crosby with 2, one on the goalie, one on the empty net in the second and third period, respectively. Tristan Jarry with his league-leading 5th shutout of the year. Joey Daccord, pretty good despite the loss, 30 of 32, another 3-0 loss on the night. I don't know why this was the trend for the score lines in this game, or in these games, but it is what it is. Big 3-0 wins for the Penguins. The Kings visiting the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Kings were all over it in this one. Dave Riddick was actually the busier of the 2 goalies because there were 3. However, it's a 5-2 win for the Kings. In the first, Trevor Moore with the only goal. In the second, Martinook with the only goal, making it 1-1. But in the third, it is all LA. Deneau, Lafreniere, Dubois, Drury makes it closer, and then Moore with his second of the game on the empty net. Antti Ranta, 20 of 24. He gets yanked in favor of Yannick Peretz, who only faces, I believe, 2 shots this game. Dave Riddick goes 30 for 32, the much better and busier of the 2 goalies, but good enough for the win in this one. It's a much-needed win for the Kings. They've been on like an 8-game skid, I believe. Teams like the Oilers, the Kraken, even Calgary to an extent has been catching them just a bit, so needed one to get the momentum back on the right side tonight, and that was exactly what happened. 5-2 final. The Islanders taking on the Minnesota Wild as Marc-Andre Fleury continues his hunt for the second-place spot as far as all-time wins go for goalies, and tonight he finally gets it, passing Patrick Waugh. A 5-0 victory here for Minnesota. Matt Zuccarello in the first, Connor Dewar and Joel Eriksson Ek in the second, a second from Eriksson Ek, and one from Marcus Foligno in the third, makes it a 5-0 final. Sorokin was also pretty good, 29 of 32, but Marc-Andre Fleury fittingly with the shutout for this milestone win, 21 of 21, a really cool moment for him. Of course, a Capitals fan, so can't really cheer on Fleury too often, but really happy to see him break this milestone, and it's a big win for the Wild as far as they go as a team. They need all the points they can get. For the Islanders, it's a pretty big loss as they have the Devils right on their tails. The Golden Knights taking on the Preds, and this one was basically Logan Thompson and Mark Stone versus the world. Stone with a hat trick, 1 goal in the first, 2 in the second. Jonathan Marchessault scores the empty netter in the third. Logan Thompson goes 34 for 35, while Saros goes just 25 for 28. Nashville outplayed Vegas pretty strongly in this one. Luke Evangelista with the lone goal for them, though. It's a big win for Vegas. They've been on a little bit of a skid of their own, and they look to maintain their higher-end spot in the Pacific Division while Vancouver continues to climb. LA recovers from their own losing streak, so it's a big win for the Golden Knights thanks to Mark Stone and Logan Thompson. The Avs visiting the Montreal Canadiens, and this was a pretty entertaining back-and-forth game. In the first, it's Colton and Slafkovsky. The second, Makar and Harvey Pinard. In the third, though, the Canadiens finally get two when the Avs get their one. It's Caulfield, then Devon Taves, then Yoel Armia. With the game winner, his 7th of the year. Georgiev goes 30 for 34. Jake Allen, 32 for 35. His first solid game in a minute. It's a big one for the Habs as they look to hang on to a thread of hope for a playoff spot. But the Atlantic Division is pretty tough, and they are slowly slipping away in 6th at 18-7. The final game of the night, the Philadelphia Flyers visiting the St. Louis Blues, and after a very gutsy performance against Winnipeg, they have yet another one tonight in St. Louis. No goals in the first. In the second, it's Lawton, Sundqvist, and Paling. In the third, Saad, Tippett, and then Joel Farabee with the empty netter. It's a 4-2 final for Philly, who continues to stay at least warm. Carter Hart, 28 of 30 in this one. Joel Hofer also really good, 38 of 41. Definitely the busier of the two goalies. Philadelphia is still battling for this playoff spot, man. We're halfway through the season, and they sit at second in the Metropolitan Division at 24, 14, and 6, now passing the Carolina Hurricanes after tonight's wins. I don't know, man. This is a weird team to gauge. You would never expect this roster on paper to be in a playoff spot, yet here we are. So we'll see if they can keep it up, but that's going to be it for NHL regular season recap. Night 93. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Another good set of games tomorrow, despite the 10 that we had today, so love to see that. We'll see you guys then.